What's up, YouTube fam? I hope everyone is doing well. In today's video, I will be taking you through the beginning process of a new sculpture. And so right now I've got my canvas, I've got a piece of my flexible wire mesh. And so my next step is to take my hot glue gun right here and glue this wire mesh to my canvas and then begin to figure out what shape I want for my sculpture. And so let's get started. So I've glued the wire mesh to the canvas, to the back of the canvas, and this is what I currently have. Right now, my next step is to take some time to work with the wire mesh and figure out what shape I want for my sculpture. And as I'm doing that, I am going to be using the hot glue gun to glue the wire mesh to the canvas in a way that represents that shape or that structure that I have in mind. And so you're going to see me do that. I will also say that I want the sculpture to be part of my Brutalist collection, and so I will be looking for sharper lines and sharper angles as opposed to softer curves, which I tend to go for my other collections. So just watch out for that. Okay, I'm really excited. I have my frame and I really like it so far. I have a vision for this piece and I can't wait to see it come alive. So yeah, your girl is excited. But the very next step now is to cover all of this beautiful wire mesh with my plaster bandages. One second. And I've got my plaster bandages over here. I'm going to do this by cutting strips of the plaster bandages, making it wet with water and using my brush to smoothen it over the wire mesh, which, as you can expect, I will show you the process. So let's just get into it. It's a bright new day and this is what we have. This is what the sculpture is currently looking like. As you can see, I was able to cover all of the wire mesh with a layer of plaster bandages yesterday. And so my very next step now is to begin layering the entire sculpture with my joint compound paste or my joint compound mixture or my plaster mixture, whichever you have on hand, and begin to build volume with those layers. And I'll share some of that, but it's mostly a repetitive process that takes me about 1 to 2 weeks, depending on how much volume I'm looking for. And so I'll show you some of that, and we'll check back in when I'm ready to go into the next step. So this sculpture is ready to be painted. I have kept it very, very rough. I'm not sure if you can see that on camera, but perhaps when I move the camera closer, you'll also be able to see better. But I also lightly sanded it, and by lightly, I mean very lightly. I only did that to get rid of the obvious bumps that I didn't want, but overall, really, really raw finish. And I will be painting this with coffee. I have some leftover stale ground coffee here, and I have some water in the kettle boiling. And so what I'm just going to do is mix up some espresso or some coffee beans with hot water, and begin to work that into the sculpture. So this is what the sculpture is looking like at the moment. This is the back. What I am going to do next is cut up some strips of plaster bandages over here, wet them in water, and place them at certain points of the sculpture. It's mostly intuitive, but I'll share some of that process. Then I might add some more of the coffee wherever I feel it might be needed to complete the look, and then we should be done. Really excited. So yeah, getting back into it. for this process, usually it's going to take me some time to figure out exactly where I want the plaster strips to be, how distressed I want them to look, and what size I want them to be. So I'm just going to be playing around with it for some time, which I may not necessarily film. I also meant to say, if you're going to do something like this, or if you're going to try this, whatever brush you're using for your coffee, just make sure it's one of those brushes that you don't really care about, because the coffee beans really does separate the bristles. I mean, with some love and TLC, you can restore the brush, but just keep that in mind. This is how it came out. I don't think I could be happier with it. I did seal off camera with a matte spray varnish, so please keep that in mind as well. This is Palimpsest of Pain, and for me, this work is an invitation to see the beauty in vulnerability and scars as well. And I hope that this is something that touches you, but I would also love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think. And as a reminder, if you have not subscribed, please do subscribe. I truly appreciate it. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye.